Hello and welcome everyone. Picture yourself standing in the middle of Shanghai in 2025. Tall skyscrapers light up the night sky. The futuristic electric cars glide quietly through busy streets. Their air is cleaner and the roaring engines have faded into history. We will explore that world now, the amazing rise of electric vehicles in China. Today, more than half of all new cars sold in this country run on electricity instead of gas. This might sound like a fantasy, but it became real much faster than anyone thought possible. Could you think back to when you first heard about electric cars? Maybe you saw them in a scientific fiction movie or read about them or lead the world in this new technology. That is precisely what China did, and the results are everywhere. But this is not just a story of smooth roads and gleaming cars. It is about competition, innovation, and the struggle to keep growing when times are tough. How did we reach this point? What surprises did we face along the way, and what does this mean for our planet's future? Let's step back in time and see how China grew into a global leader in electric vehicles, one spark at a time. The journey begins how China embraced electric cars. Let's travel a few years into the past. At the time, China was facing serious problems with air pollution. Many big cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, had days when smog made it hard to breathe and see. At the same time, countries spent vast amounts of money on oil imports. Leaders wondered, how can we fix these problems at once? A man named Wang Jiang, he proposed that China invest heavily in electric vehicles technology. He knew that EVs did not create dirty fumes and did not need imported fuel to run. Early on, many people thought this was a risky plan. Electric cars were expensive to build and battery technology was far behind where it is today. But the government saw a chance to be the best in the brand new era, so it took a big leap. The government started offering money and tax breaks to people who bought electric cars. It also helped companies build charging stations in cities and on highways, so people no longer had to worry too much about where to charge their cars. These unique benefits gave the EV industry a strong push forward, helping new companies appear and older car makers shift their focus to electricity. A rapid rise by 2024, the results were impossible to miss. China was producing more than 60% of the world's electric vehicles. Brands like BYD, NIO, and XPeng became famous names at home and around the globe. Electric cars with sleek design, long battery ranges, and advanced technology caught consumers' attention everywhere. Suddenly, Chinese automakers were no longer just building cheap cars, but building a future of driving. But with fast growth comes with significant challenges. Over 200 EV manufacturers popped up to compete for the market. At first, government subsidies helped many of these stay afloat. Once those subsidies started to shrink, only the most creative and well-managed companies could keep going. In 2024 alone, more than a dozen EV brands. By 2030, only a few powerful car makers would still be standing. Success at home often leads to higher goals. Chinese EV makers looked to Europe and United States, hoping to sell cars to people abroad. However, they ran into trade barriers. In the late 2024, the European Union added higher taxes on Chinese electric vehicles, claiming Chinese automakers had an unfair edge over years of government support. This caused some companies to think twice. Should we build cars in Europe instead, or should we leave that market to others? Still, many held on, believing the focus of technology would ultimately prevail. The next targets were to develop even better batteries, and more innovative driver assistance systems. Two huge areas decide would rule the EV world. When government aid started to shrink, the EV market in China had to learn how to stand on its own. This forced companies to improve their products and become more efficient. Let's take a look at some of the key hurdles and how they changed the industry. With fewer subsidies, making this and selling EVs at reasonable prices became tricky. Some companies shut down because they couldn't lower costs or raise money. Others choose to partner with more prominent, stronger car makers. Over time, the market tightened, leaving only brands with great technology and smart business plans. Consolidation might sound like a big word, but it simply means that smaller or weaker companies were bought out or merged with bigger ones. This reduces competition and creates a steadier market. Brands like BYD, NIO, and XPeng survived this battle because they had unique strengths. BYD, for instance, stood for by making the cars and the batteries in-house. NIO shined with stylish cars and a premium ownership experience. XPeng focused on clever software, autonomous driving, and advanced car features. The tech race. Battery technology is the heart of any electric car. Chinese battery companies like CATL became global leaders by creating better, longer lasting batteries that charged faster. They also found ways to cut costs, making electric cars more affordable. Advanced driver assistance systems had to be excitement. Imagine cars that could steer themselves in traffic or help you park in a crowded lot. These features attract new buyers, help Chinese EVs gain a reputation of being high tech. Chinese automakers wanted to sell cars overseas but faced roadblocks like tariffs and political tensions. Some responsible by opening factories in other countries. Others showed their expansion plans waiting for trade deals to improve. Still, the need for sustainable transportation is growing worldwide. Many countries have started to promote cleaner cars to meet climate change's goals. This means Chinese EV makers might still have an edge if they keep costs low and quality high. A fantastic part for China's EV story is how it reached people of all income levels. For example, is the William Hola Mini EV, an ultra-affordable car that made electric travel possible for many lower-income families. Even a smaller town, you can now find basic charging stations. This helped break the ideal only affluent cities dwellers could enjoy electric cars. Standing here in Shanghai, the world has decided that the electric vehicles are the way forward. But what happens next? Will China stay on top or will the nations catch up? Chinese government wants 20% of all vehicle sales to be new energy vehicles by 2025 and to complete stop selling traditional gas cars by 2035. To achieve these goals, the country plans to build 20 million charging points, ensuring that EV owners do not run out of power. Other countries also have big plans. The United States is investing money in support to EV companies, while Europe is building batteries, the gigafactories, and launching new electric models. Everyone wants a piece of this growing market. Right now, Chinese leadership is battery making set is in part. Companies like CATL supply batteries of automakers around the world. This advantage might last unless other countries catches up in battery research. Clean energy is also a key. Charging an electric car is only as green as the power source. China has been building wind farms and solar stations but still use coal for much of their power. Over time, switching to cleaner energy will improve EVs for the environment. The push for electric vehicles is a part of China's plan to demonstrate leadership against climate change. If more countries want to fight pollution and global warming, they may learn from China's example and buy electric buses, trucks, and cars from China. However, political and trade issues could slow this process. Tariffs can raise and the prices of Chinese-made vehicles, and some nations may fear foreign control, leading them in a leading them in prefer local brands. The need for cleaner air and the desire to protect homegrown industries are a balancing act. By 2025, EVs will likely account for more than half of the new cars sales in China. We might also see many more electric buses, delivery vans, and garbage trucks. Shared cars and self-driving services could become routine in big cities, reducing the need for personal vehicles. Young people might care less about driving and more about convenience ride-sharing apps on their phones. If technology keeps improving, the idea of a silent zero-emission world might become standard everywhere. So here we are in Shanghai, watching silent electric cars zooming by towering skyscrapers. We are witnessing a mass change in how people move from one place to another. What started as a dream, boosted by the government support and drive to solve pollution, this became a remarkable success. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are still obstacles, from the trade barriers to the fading of subsidies. But the momentum is strong, and many believe there is no turning back. We have seen big changes happen when people come together. Governments, businesses, and regular folks like us all play a role. So ask yourself, what can I do to support this change? Maybe it means buying an electric car the next time you buy a vehicle. It may mean asking local officials to invest in clean energy. It may mean sharing what you have learned with friends and family so they know that these changes can help the environment. Electric vehicles are more than just a new kind of car. They represent a fresh way of thinking about our planet, health, and the future. Whenever someone chooses an electric ride over a gas-powered one, the air gets a little cleaner, and the world becomes slightly better. If China's story teaches us anything, big goals can be reached when we decide they matter. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Remember, each of us can make a difference. The revolution in transportation is well underway. Will you join this movement for cleaner and brighter world? Leave a comment below and let's keep this conversation going.